Let's do a super quick sphere demo. So what we're doing now is I'm placing, say, a gray orb on a lighter gray surface. Okay? So this is our gray orb. And here is our lighter gray surface. Cool. Now, if we have no light at all, right? Let's start. I always like to start from a black void. If we start from a black void, we see nothing. We see absolutely nothing, right? Then let's add one light source to the upper right. Okay, I have now, and we're not going to get perfect shapes because I just want you to get the general understanding. We're adding one light source to the upper right. I'm doing that first by completely illuminating. Oh, it's not connected. Give me a second. Like, just from a logistical perspective, I am adding this light source from the upper right by completely illuminating the plane here. Oh no, that's not what I wanted to do. Give me a second. Give me a second. Illuminating the ball, completely illuminating the plane, then drawing my little cast shadow here. Okay, in a perfect black void with only one light source, and let me just actually remove the noise that I have in the background here. In a perfectly black void with only one light source, you'd have the light come in from the top right. Let me get a brush here. It would hit the orb, and then it would hit the plane. And then what happens is, even with this one light source, because we have a plane down here, we get some bounce light. So the light bounces off the plane and will then illuminate the underside of the ball a little bit. The plane turns into a light source as it's bouncing the light that's hitting it. Also, let me just... Right. Let's start there, actually. Let's start there. For that reason, the form shadow gets illuminated. We get a little bit of bounce light over here, and we get what's called the core of the shadow, or the terminator. Right at the terminator, you get the shadow core, which is the darkest part of a shadow that has some bounce light. Cool. The other thing, so bounce light is one thing that really changes the value of your shadows. And something to be really aware of when you're then rendering these shadows. Something to note is that bounce light never illuminates any form brighter than the original light source. So this area up here is way lighter than this area down here. You might have heard that the darkest light is lighter than the lightest dark. That's what that means. The darkest value up here needs to be lighter than the lightest value down here. This is a lot of information. I'll clip it for you later. I'll highlight it for you later so you can return to it. Now, it would be nice if the world was this perfect. But in reality, you tend to get more than one light source. Which means we want to exit the completely dark void. And once we exit the completely dark void, we get ambient lighting or global illumination. And ambient lighting or global illumination means that most shadows are not completely dark. Very rarely does it happen that shadows are completely black. And the only reason where you can responsibly make shadows completely black is in crevices where this ambient light can't reach. That's what is referred to as ambient occlusion. And in the case of this demo, it would happen between the plane and the ball. Here you'd have a lot of ambient occlusion where the global light coming from everywhere can't reach this deepest crevice between these two surfaces. And you get this darkness. Of course, now we're going to remember that cast shadows aren't completely sharp, but just tend to be sharper than form shadows. And let me just add like an active highlight on this orb, or a passive highlight. We're doing very diffuse materials right now to simplify. And now you have a simple version. Let me see, where is that actually? It's here. Yeah. Of like a sphere demo. There's a lot going on. This is how I tend to think of it. I start with a dark void, and then from the dark void, I add light sources. Do form shadows tend to be brighter than cast shadows? No. It's just a matter of where's your bounce light really reaching? Where's the bounce light hitting? Because if we go back to the dark void here, not a lot of bounce light is going to hit the cast shadow. Right? All the bounce light in this void setup goes on the ball from the plane. No bounce light goes from the ball to this cast shadow. And so in certain scenarios, like this dark void setup, the cast shadow would indeed be darker than the form shadow. That was a lot of information. It was also slightly rambly. I think it was okay. I think decently structured off the cuff. But there you go. Cool. I only have 15 minutes left, but I simply have to take a bathroom break. I will marker that one. I don't know if that clips very well for whoops. I don't know if that clips very well for like a